Hello, welcome to another episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show. Today is an episode with just me and my lovely husband here. But today we're going to be sharing with you about a recent event we had. We recently did a free wash day as an anniversary event for our customers in our brand new store. And we're going to share the details of that, the costs of that, and the feedback we've gotten from the community.
Yeah, we're going to drill down a little bit. We're going to give you, I wouldn't say data, but we're going to tell you exactly what we spent on, what we spent it on per category. We're going to tell you how we advertised this promotion. We're going to tell you some of the hugs that we got and some of the feedback we got from customers, good and bad. And more importantly, we're going to tell you the reason that we did this, but we're hoping that this will spur you and give you some thought, whether you do a grand opening event or you're trying to just accelerate the growth of a new store after a soft opening, or you want to do an anniversary, maybe a 5 or 10 year anniversary. Maybe this will give you a few ideas. We feel like we did an awful lot right, but you can learn, and we're hoping you can learn from us. So let's jump right into this episode. Want more profits out of your laundromat business? Let us tell you about our new company, LaundroBoost, and how it can help you to boost your profits. You may be thinking you've used digital marketing companies before and they wasted your time and money. Well, that's why LaundroBoost was born. As 14-year veteran laundromat operators ourselves, we've been there, and it's sickening.
So what makes LaundroBoost different? Our team combines technical digital marketing with veteran laundromat operators and coaches to give your campaigns the ideal blend for getting you results. But then we take it a step further with our strategy. Our strategy is to be hyper vigilant with every marketing dollar, so no fluff.
Yeah, in the beginning, we focus on a 3-pronged approach that we think is unique in the industry. The first is website design and landing pages, making sure those are honed in properly. The second is daily analytics studies and strategy with your Google AdWords campaigns. And the third is geofencing. It focuses on your nearest competitors and where your ideal customers live and where they shop. We believe we've got something special, and we've spent our own dollars here in Cincinnati to test it, and we're growing faster now than ever before.
To learn more, schedule a free discovery call and market study for your market. Visit laundroboostmarketing.com today. So welcome to another episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show. Today, we are going to be talking about a recent event that has really gotten people talking, not just in the laundromat industry, but also in our community. And that was our 1-year anniversary celebration in our biggest laundromat, our new, I'm sure you've seen if you've been on our channel at all, our 9,000 square foot facility in Amelia, Ohio. It's now been open in April. It was just open a year. And so we wanted to thank our community for their awesome support. And so we did a free washers day. And we're going to tell you about that, how we did it, the results from it, and maybe entice you to do the same thing in your community.
Yeah, what we're hoping to do is just share, very real, very transparent with you of what happened. You might be able to take this information and use it to do a soft opening and then a grand opening. So you could use, some or all of what we tried. I did some pretty extensive research on this. I volunteered at several free laundry days, laundry cares days to get information. I volunteered at a few of my friends that weren't associated with laundry cares to see how they did things. I have several other friends that have put on their own events, and I kind of cracked their brain a little bit, and they gave me a few nuggets that they thought would be helpful. I actually studied this for several years. I was thinking we were going to do this as a grand opening, and our store actually, we had a few hiccups in the beginning, so we did a soft opening. And then we kept having a few hiccups a little longer than I wanted, and so I didn't want to do a grand opening. Next thing you know, 6 months in, we blink our eyes, and the store is absolutely exploding. So we never really even needed to do a free wash day or a free wash week or a free wash month at our new superstore is what I call it. And so instead, we just kind of blinked our eyes, and a year had passed. We actually, within the first year, we had already reached our 4-year projections in our pro forma for our new store. So we were really proud of that, really happy happy of that. And so instead, we decided to take this and do a little bit different version of it with it, do a 1-year anniversary, kind of just to give back to the community. So at the end, this episode is just about telling you about our strategy. Not that there was a ton, but our strategy behind this, what we did. And maybe you'll be able to take a version of it and do it yourself in a way that'll benefit your community and benefit your business.
And we're going to be really transparent. We're going to share the costs associated with it because it isn't free, and kind of some feedback we got from our community as well. So for one thing you need to know too is that our store, so we have been in this area, the area that we serve, for 14 years. So our name is pretty well known, but you can never stop increasing the goodwill in your community. And there's still going to people that haven't heard of us. So you really want to get your name out there. And that's one thing that this event did.
Yeah. And when she says us, she's referring to Queen City Laundry, which is our brand. Just so you know, if you're not aware, we've owned 4 stores in the east side of Cincinnati for going back to 2009. So we own 1, and then 2nd, obviously 3rd, 4th. So our 4th store, I think, was about 6 or 7 years into our journey. So we've been serving the area for a while, all branded the same under Queen City Laundry. Our new store, our superstore, was actually our 5th store, but we closed a store a couple miles away that was in a lease space actually the day before we opened our new store. So I always say we went from 4 to 5 to 4. But at the end of the day, the Queen City Laundry brand has been serving the east side of Cincinnati since 2009, about 14 years is the recording of this. And so we just wanted to give back to the community. So full disclosure, we had reached those projections we talk about. We did want to create some buzz for the new store. You know, we're always open to more business. But at the end of the day, this was really just a give back. So if we didn't get any, let's say, growth or financial benefit from this, we were okay. This was just a way of giving back after 14 years. We knew we had the right store to do it in, meaning throughput, layout, technology. We could easily program the washers free.
Parking.
Great point. Parking. Our other stores, it would be a little bit of crazy town if we tried to do that at some of those. And by the way, it could be done. It'd just be we'd have to go in and change prices manually. The store might be a little bit busier. So if you have a different layout store than ours or not as much parking as we do, you may want to think through that as well. But we just wanted to share our experience on the podcast here today and hope that it'll help you a few people. So if you can grab a few nuggets out of this, then that's what we're really looking for.
So let's get into what we actually did. So for our event, it was a 1-day event going from 7 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. in the evening. We opted to do a full day instead of just a couple of hours for various reasons. One, it's easier for our customers to work around their schedules. You know, they didn't have to take a day off to be able to attend our laundry day. We did do during the middle of the week. We did on a Wednesday. Part of that was it is a less busy day, but it does pull people to that less busy day. Also, just like crowding. Dave, I know, has attended various events that are usually just like a few hours, and they get really packed, and there's lines, and ours was busy. Don't get me wrong, but it was a steady busy for that whole 13-hour span.
It was. Another thing we learned from volunteering at some other events is there's some other events out in the industry where you'll get a ton of volunteers. And honestly, we considered kind of, reaching out to our church, which is right up the road and a pretty good sized church, seeing if they wanted to do some volunteers. There's a lot of ideas that went through my head. At the end of the day, when I volunteered at these other events, one of the things I learned is that the 2 to 3 hour window really makes people stressed and have anxiety and crazy as to how quickly they can get in and get out, and if they can get their free wash or free dry and those type of things. And so that's something I learned that I wanted to do a little bit different. I wanted to make it all day. Another thing I learned is because some of these events have so many volunteers, in my opinion, it's actually a hindrance to being able to get people in and get them over and get them out. Full disclosure, some other events that are out there are more of a, I don't know if full service is the right word, but their goal is to actually greet every customer, to guide every customer to an open washer, to start the washer for them, to load the washer for them, to maybe even put free detergent in, things like that, and to actually, let's say, guide them through the whole process of washing and drying. And I think the idea with a lot of those events is just to, try to get them in, get them over, and get them out fast, but maybe even also just connect with them on a more personal level. What we wanted to do is try to serve as many people as possible as we could. So we only had 3 people on staff all day. The store normally has 1 person on staff all day, especially on a Wednesday. And then I was there all day too. I was in and out a few different times. So I was there for 3, 4, 5 hours. I'd leave for an hour or 2 and then come back for a few hours. So I was probably there for a total of 8 hours, maybe 7 or 8 hours out of the 14 to 15 hour window. So just give you an idea of staffing. What we did is we greeted every customer that came in the door. We had 1 person at all times kind of working the floor, if you will, cleaning, seeing if people need help, things like that. We had a greeter. The greeter would greet people as they came in, let them know what was going on, let them know all the washers were free. We did that thing, and then we had somebody at the front counter because we still had people dropping off dry cleaning, drop off laundry, things like that. And as I mentioned, when I was there, I was a 4th person, and I was mostly wandering around doing a little bit of everything, to be honest with you, kind of filling in where needed. The greeter and the person that worked the front window for us were kind of right there in between each other, and there was a table. And at that table, we had drawings, and we gave away 2 free TVs, 55-inch TVs during the day. We gave away different things every hour on the hour, laundry bags and drop-off laundry service and things like that. And when they did that, we actually asked that we required them, when they register for the drawing, to fill out this little piece of paper. And we'll tell you about that in a minute. Additionally, just so we're clear, we did not provide free dry for the day. We only provided free wash. So all washers were free, including extra wash and extra rinse. So they could choose whatever wash cycles they wanted, whatever washers they wanted, and they could wash as much laundry as possible. We didn't limit them to a certain amount. Part of that is our retail store is about 6,500, 7,000 square feet of actual floor space. And our employee area is about 2,500 square feet of space. And so we have plenty of space. We have big 12-foot main aisles. We have a lot of large capacity 200G washers. And so we felt like we have proper throughput where we didn't need to limit people to only a certain amount of laundry, which I know if you have a smaller store and things like that, sometimes that can be really helpful, is to just say, hey, everybody gets 5 loads for free, or you can use 1 bigger washer and 2 small. Do what you have to do, but we just want to share that information.
Another important element of this is obviously you have to get the word out. Also leading up to this event, obviously, we needed to advertise. Some things that we did was we focused on Facebook advertising and then just signage. So we put a month prior. Basically, we started the Facebook ads, and a month prior, we put up a large sign at the road that advertised the date that it was going to be a free wash all day long. We also put signage in our stores, letting people know that this free wash day was coming. So that's kind of where we focused, going a month before the actual event.
Yeah, so we didn't want to just have a free day, but not really tell anybody about it and hope that it wasn't, busy. We kind of wanted to do the opposite. We wanted to promote it. And yeah, we could have put billboards and TVs, and I mean, we could have went even more out than we did. But we felt like this was a happy medium, and also this was our first time doing this. So we wanted to make sure we didn't, stress out the store and our staff too much. Last thing is, when it comes to the event itself, we also gave away free pizza all day. We had a local bakery make cookies with our logo on them that were individually packaged. We gave those out all day. I think we gave out a couple hundred of them. We had donuts in the morning, and then we had bottled water all day. So what we did there is our general manager, when she came in the morning, she got donuts on the way in. And this was at 7 a.m. when the store opened to the public. By the way, I'm not sure if we mentioned it. This was all day, but it's 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And 9 p.m. is our last load. So we ended up being there till about 10. So it ended up being 14, 15 hours when we actually closed the store. But what we did with the food is we had donuts in the morning at 7 a.m. and we burned through those pretty quickly because we kind of had a little bit of a Black Friday feeling going on the sidewalk when we first
Morning
opened.
rush.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't crazy, but it was probably 30, 40 people that were kind of waiting on the sidewalk in the parking lot. And they all, made a nice line. They were all respectful of each other. So we had donuts first thing in the morning. And then I think it was about 8:30. One of us ran up to the local Dunkin' Donuts and got, I think it was 4 or 5 more dozen donuts. And then I think we did the same thing again about 10 o'clock. Starting about noon, we had pizzas delivered. And it was kind of as needed, but if I remember right, the cadence was probably every 2.5 hours, we would have 5 or 6 pizzas delivered. If we burned through them a little quicker, we would order more a little quicker. And we had set all that up ahead of time with Dunkin' Donuts. We had ordered the cookies ahead of time. We had the bottled water there in the store. And then the pizza, we had called the pizza company and kind of told them what our plan was and that we'd kind of be sporadic throughout the day. But I think overall, we told them we'd probably want about 30 to 40 pizzas between like noon and 8 p.m. So we gave them a little bit of a heads up too. And that's kind of the food side of things. And that's really the totality of the value that we provided. It was the food, the free wash, the staff there, the advertising, the drawings for 2 55-inch TVs, and then laundry bags and other prizes that we gave away.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than free. Ever heard that before? Well, it's not true. You know what your laundromat customers like even better than free? It's fast. That's right. They want to save time more than they want to save money in most cases. They want to get in and out of your laundromat as fast as possible, and they'll pay more for that experience. We're proof of that here in Cincinnati. That's why we added HM Company drain troughs into our newest store in Cincinnati. While they may never know why, your customers will love that your washers all drain better and faster than with old school drain pipes. As if that wasn't enough, every HM drain trough is made in the USA, so they ship in only a few weeks and everyone is custom made just for you and your project. If you want to provide your customers with a top of the industry experience in your store, then contact your distributor to order your HM Company drain trough today or visit draintroughs.com.
So, and another thing with the drawings, this isn't what we gave, but kind of what we got was we did have them fill out information sheets for the drawing, and that allowed us to collect emails, phone numbers, and also get some feedback about had a customer been here before, and also which services they're interested in. Our laundry center in Amelia is a full service center, so we offer self-serve, but we also offer drop-off, dry cleaning, and pickup and delivery. So we wanted to make sure if those people were interested in our other services that we could use them for future marketing campaigns. So we did use that information.
Yeah, and just kind of a tip for you, what we did that worked out pretty well is we required them to fill out our form completely to be eligible for the drawing. Mm-hmm. So we had somebody for the most part at the table all the time, but they would come up and fill it out themselves. If we saw someone filling one out, we would kind of remind them, but we also had a sign that the form must be completely filled out in order to, claim your prize. And so, they were looking at a couple big TVs and hoping they won them. And so they were like, all right, fine, I'll give you my email address or whatever, where normally they might not have. And we told them too, you don't have to be there at the time that you win your prize. If you're not, we'll call you. If they won the laundry bags or the smaller prizes, that was done on an hourly basis. If they won that, we actually put their names back into the drawing so that when we drew the TV, they would still be eligible for that. We didn't want them to think, oh, I want a laundry bag now, I'm not going to get the TV. We actually put their names back in. We didn't have anyone win multiple small prizes, but we did have someone, I think it was a husband and wife. The wife won a laundry bag and the husband won a TV, but they had also filled out 2 forms. And then the last thing on the forms is we did require it 18 years and older to be eligible for the prizes. And we just did that because we don't really need data on a 10-year-old. And that's part of why we were doing the drawing. One, to give back, but also hoping to collect some customer data and figure out, how many people came in that day, how many of them were new, whether they were interested in self-serve or not, things like that. So we wanted to have a little bit of kind of quantifiable data behind the drawing, and it worked out pretty well. Maybe you've done something better. If you have, by all means, shoot us a message. We'd love to know.
I know our assistant GM was reaching out to some different community businesses. Mm-hmm. Were there any community businesses that ended up showing up for that?
We did have one community business show up, and that was a little last minute. We didn't think that through as quickly ahead of time. That's on me. But we did have a local insurance agent that came that does health insurance, but she wasn't just there to sell. She actually came in. We let her set up a table with a banner and stuff, and we didn't charge her. It was free. And she gave out little packets of like Tide and bounce sheets. I think she had 2 Tide pods and 3 bounce sheets. And then she had a business card in like a Ziploc baggie. And she gave those out to people. But she was also one of these people that does a lot of like Medicare, Medicaid type of stuff. And so she was, explaining the services to people, and in some cases there wasn't even any charge.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people in lower income communities that don't have insurance and don't even know that they can get it for free. Or if they do know, they don't know how to. So she was able to help a decent amount of people by doing that. And I think she kind of grew her business a little bit too. I think she sat there for about 5 hours, if I remember right. If we were to do it again, we do know some people that have done some bigger events even than this in bigger cities and stuff. And they've had like Hawksworth blood drive out, the mammogram mobile. People have hired clowns, face painting, had DJs come out, things like that. We thought about doing some things like that, but since it was our first event, we didn't want to go crazy. But you'd be surprised, those don't really add that much money to the costs.
Yeah. I know we weren't able to get our local librarians to come to this event, but we did. We do a monthly event where our local librarian comes and reads to the kids, and we also always give free book giveaways. So there was that there. There were the advertisements for the monthly librarian visit, but she wasn't actually there for this event.
Yeah, and on the monthly librarian visits, when they come and read to the kids and they do crafts and things like that, we always order pizza and cookies and bottled water then for that event. It's just like 2 hours once a month, and it's mostly for the kids. But we give the pizza out to everybody too. A little bit of a side note.
Just a little side note. So let's get into the costs. So obviously there was the cost of that we didn't quantify, which was the utilities on those washers that we allow people to do for free. But I will say that overall, our revenue that day was higher than usual for a Wednesday, just by the increase in dryer usage. So I think that probably helped mediate some of those costs of those utilities. But the actual quantifiable costs, so first off, we had
before we get into that, let me say, Carla, we actually did over, I think it was like 10,300 pounds of free wash in the day. Now, part of the reason she mentioned, even though the wash was free, we actually generated more revenue on that Wednesday in dryer revenue because that tells you most people moved from the washer to the dryer and paid for the dryers. Obviously, Wednesday is our slowest day of the week, so normally our dryer revenue wouldn't be near as high as it was. So you could call that a wash. I mean, we understand there's things in there that, you have to think through the details and the synergies behind, like, okay, if people know there's a free wash day coming, are they not going to come in a week before?
But we didn't see a drop in revenue.
We actually didn't.
After it all.
We didn't before or after, which we fully expected to. But anyway, so we did about, in roughly 14, 15 hours, we did over 10,000 pounds of free wash capacity, and almost all of them dried. And so our revenue that day was actually higher than a normal Wednesday, which is what she was referring to.
Yes. So getting into the cost. So first off, we had the cost for the food. So the pizza, the cookies, the donuts, the bottled water, and that amounted to about $800. We had the cost of the items we gave away, and that was the 2 TVs, the laundry bags, and then also some free services like drop-off services and stuff like that. And that amounted to $900. And then let's see, we had the signage. So we had various signs put up in the store, balloons in the store, the big sign at the road, which totaled about $500. We had the marketing. We spent around $1,500, and that was spread out basically the month before leading up to the week of in kind of $500 chunks there, like $500 4 weeks before, $500 2 weeks before, and then $500 the week of. So $1,500 in marketing. We had the extra staffing. So like we normally have one person there, but we had 2 extra people plus Dave. We're not counting his, but
free labor.
So for the 2 extra people, for us, they're at $16 an hour. And they were there for 15 hours. So that's an extra $480. So all in, if you total that all up, we're looking at $4,180 to pay for this event. That is including everything. And obviously, if you're doing an event, you could change things. If that's too much for you, maybe you don't give out the food, or maybe you don't do the signage, or you use volunteers instead of bringing in extra staff. So there are workarounds if you don't want to spend that amount. But we had an awesome event for $4,000, which I think was incredible.
One thing I will point out too, just in case you're wondering, we didn't have 2 people work 15-hour shifts. We actually staggered those. So what happened is our assistant GM who runs that store, she got there at 7 a.m. Our GM got there shortly after that. I think it was about 7:30 a.m. I think I got there about 8:30, and then we had an attendant get there about 9. And then from that point forward, we had 2 attendants there along with us three pretty much all the time. But I think it was about 4 o'clock, the two attendants swapped out with two other attendants. And they did overlap by about an hour, hour and a half, because they stayed a little later because we were actually getting a peak. And one of the things we noticed about this is we got that Black Friday, sidewalk thing.
The morning rush.
In the morning, we got killed for the first 2.5, 3 hours. And by a lull, we were still plenty busy, especially because it was probably similar to a normal Sunday for us. So it was busy, but not people waiting on machines. And then what we did is we found that about 11:30, we got another rush. And then about 5 o'clock, we got another rush. And so we had a couple little gaps in there. And we kind of expected a little bit of that. One, we expected a rush after people got off work, kids got off school, because this was done on a Wednesday in April. And so we expected those things. But one of the things I found interesting that I didn't expect was, even though we did all the advertising on Facebook, the signs a month before, all that stuff, is the morning crew, they came in, and then when they left, they called friends, cousins, whatever, posted on social media, took pictures, and that, at least a part of it, created the second wave. Because we had people coming in at lunchtime and even dinner time, and they said, yeah, I didn't even know you were doing this today, but my cousin called me, or my best friend posted on Facebook or Twitter or whatever it was. And so it was really interesting that the people in the morning seemed to know about it, and they were trying to get in before we got real busy. And then they left, and then they went and told everybody they knew and posted on social media, and it actually created 2 more waves. So we found that kind of interesting, just because we did an all-day event. If you just did a 3 or 4 hour event, obviously you wouldn't really have time for that.
Yeah. So lastly, let's talk about some of the feedback we've gotten. Now, there hasn't been enough time to pass to truly quantify the effect on revenue or the number of customers we've gotten. But we do know from the people filling out the forms that there were at least 80 new customers that came through the door. So they had never been to Queen City Laundry before. So that alone tells you if they were impressed and they come back, that's going to increase the revenue from where it was previously. But we're still looking at the data.
Yeah, we're still only about 6-7 weeks out when we're recording this. So we don't know for sure what the next 6 months or year will look like. The good news is we did this event without expecting anything in return. So if it was $4,180 of goodwill, we're actually totally fine with that. We recommend approaching it that way. But at the same time, some of the feedback we got people that walked in the doors and were literally speechless. They didn't even know it was free wash day. And, some of these people, not all, but some of these people were lower income, and they would start crying, and they would be like, you got to be kidding me. I get to do, I can do all my wash for free. And we would tell people, you can do everything you brought for free, but if you want to go home and get your bedding and your pillows and that kind of stuff, you can, it's all day. It's until 9 p.m. And we did have some people leave and go back and get their bedding and go back and get their, whatever, somebody else that lives with them, that kind of stuff. But people were crying. People were giving each other and our teammates hugs, me hugs, saying thank you so much. Just the graciousness was so amazing. And, the funny thing is, Carla, one of the things that I warned our team about in our meetings prior to this, as I told them, I said, now listen, most people are going to be really appreciative and really grateful for this, but keep in mind, there's always a few that are resentful. So the dryers aren't free, that, we get pizza, but no steaks, some people, it just doesn't matter how much you do. It's 2 TVs. Why didn't you give away 4? And they get mad because this person wanted a TV and I didn't. It's kind of that resentment builds up. And I fully expected this, and I just warned them. And, the interesting thing is, none of us, when we did our after-action report, none of us actually had any interaction like that. None of our team members even saw anything like that, which I was really grateful for. So maybe it says more about me than them. But at the same time, I wasn't expecting a lot, but I was expecting a little bit. We did have a few people ask, are the dryers free? And we said, no, just the washers. They were like, okay. So they were good with it. But we didn't get anyone that gave us any attitude or
no negative
nastiness.
feedback.
No negative feedback at all, which was amazing. One lady I do want to tell you about, she was one of the ones that started crying, and there was probably a few dozen of them throughout the day. And it really touched me because she literally said, now I can get my prescriptions filled. And I thought, Wow, like that is crazy. How blessed are we to think that we don't even have to think about things like that? And I did grow up that way, but it's been a long time, so I'm pretty spoiled at this point. We also got several dozen 5-star reviews. If we had something to do over again, we probably would have had some flyers throughout the store.
Yeah, more QR codes about giving
QR
reviews.
codes. And maybe even coached our staff up, which I didn't think about, is as people come up so gracious and giving us hugs, hey, ask them for a 5. And the funny thing is we do that in our normal operations, but we just hadn't thought about it in that day. So the cool thing is, like, we got, I think it was a few dozen 5-star reviews that day for our event, but they weren't talking about the event. For the most part, they were talking about the store, and that was without soliciting at all. So, little tip.
We did send messages later to the people who filled out forms
Good
soliciting, but
since we had those,
but we got them before we solicited.
Since we got that 128 registered drawing people, we actually sent emails and texts out to all of them, saying thank you for coming to the event and putting a link on there for reviews. That's a great point. And we did get a few more that way, but it was pretty surprising. So if you're going to do one, learn from us and actually ask for it while they're there in the store, because we all know those reviews are gold. Just some amazing stuff. As Carla mentioned, we're not really able to quantify the dollar value, but we didn't do this looking for a specific ROI or anything like that. But one thing I will tell you is just kind of anecdotally, if we were figuring in our mind that if we had 80 new customers, which is the number we had, we figure if roughly half of them come back just even a couple times, I mean, that's going to be, if you figure an average visit, which we have is a customer spends about $20 in self-serve business. I mean, even half of them, if they came back every week for just a few weeks, it would be $800 a week. So it wouldn't take very many customers coming back just honestly a couple times to be able to easily get our money back. So we're not real sure that we're going to be able to technically quantify this out. But the good news is we don't have to. Our business continues to grow on an upward trajectory. We think there's many reasons for that. We mentioned, Laundry Boost, our digital marketing company, we're growing faster than ever. That's definitely a part of it. But we like to think that this event created a lot of goodwill in the community. If nothing else, we think it created a lot of awareness. A lot of people know that Queen City Laundry exists and how amazing this new superstore is because they've been there at least once. And even if they go back to their old laundromat, as soon as they have a poor experience, we like to think that they're going to know we're there. And we really focused, which we do this all the time, we really focused hard on customer service too. So like I said, we were greeting people, we were welcoming them in, making sure people were on the floor to ask and answer questions all the time. So we wanted to make sure they didn't just had a good facility, but had a great experience too. So
anyway, that's pretty much sums up what our day was like. And we hope that this inspires you to maybe do something similar in your community. Feel free, if you have ideas, you can always comment down below. But that's pretty much it for us from Cincinnati, Ohio. This is Dave and Carla Menz with another episode of the Laundromat Millionaire Show. Take care.
See you, everyone. Bye.